Okay, on today's adventure we're going to be visiting a location that has a very sad and tragic background, and it's for that reason that I've been kind of hesitant to do a video on this, despite the fact that it's only about 30 minutes away from where I live. But some of you are very interested and fascinated with this subject, so I thought I'd cover it and try to do so as respectfully as possible. On May 5th, 1993, three young boys, Stevie Branch, Christopher Byers, and Michael Moore, were brutally murdered in a patch of forest outside of a neighborhood in West Memphis, Arkansas. And that is where we are today, and that's what we'll be taking a closer look at. This case gained national attention, not only due to the brutality of the crime, but also because of the controversial trial and conviction of who were dubbed the West Memphis Three. The West Memphis Three: Jesse Misskelley, Jason Baldwin, and Damian Eccles. The case gained so much traction, books were written, documentaries were made, and eventually in 2011, they submitted an Alford plea and they were released from prison. So there are a lot of people who have very definite feelings on who is responsible for this crime. I'm not going to offer my personal opinions because you can do your own research. Every aspect of this crime is available on the internet for your public consumption. So I urge you to do your own research and draw your own conclusions. So where we are now, in the early 90s, this was all forest, okay? This was all woods. And that down there is the diversion ditch, okay? A lot of kids would come out here in this patch of forest, what was then the patch of forest, and play. It was also, unfortunately, a spot where a lot of transients and people would go out to hang out and drink. But also a place where kids would go, ride their bikes and stuff. So right there, you'll see is a pipe bridge, okay? That pipe bridge is where the three victims' bikes were found, on top of that, okay? So they were found on top of that. And again, just keep in mind, this is all covered with forest, and you've got the neighborhood over here to my right. So that's the diversion ditch. I know it's kind of hard to see with all the growth. But back in the day, there was a creek that went toward the interstate there. That is I-40 that you see there. It's the third longest interstate in the country. It's over 2,500 miles long. There was another creek that went toward that direction, and that, in that creek that is no longer there, that is where the bodies were found. I have to be really careful about going down here. To be honest, this is way more overgrown than I thought it was going to be. So I have to be very careful here. If you can see it there, that is the pipe bridge where the bikes were found. And the bodies, again, if you go upstream about 25 yards, and then you would go further upstream another 25 yards or so, this is approximate, that's where their bodies were found. You see that hotel in the distance? That was not here at the time. I think that's a Hampton Inn. But what was in that area over there was a Blue Beacon car wash. And the Blue Beacon car wash was a 24-hour truck stop, open 7 days a week. And that truck stop did have easy access to this forest. So just something to think about. Now, a lot of people wonder, okay, so you've got this neighborhood here that was pretty bustling at the time. You've got an interstate there that's also very active. How could these murders be committed right underneath the nose of civilization? Well, again, this was all woods. This has all been cleared out. So the woods would actually conceal what was going on. And on the other side there, the interstate, the sound of the constant traffic would unfortunately cancel out any screams or anything like that. I know that's kind of horrific to think about, but that's the reality. So again, we are in the Robin Hood's neighborhood here, Robin Hood Hills neighborhood. You can see here, that used to be apartments over there. I think it was called the Wayfair Apartments. 10 mile bayou diversion ditch, okay? And again, over there, I-40, and behind us here, you can see the Robin Hood Hills subdivision. You really have to base all of your kind of judgment as far as where everything is off this pipe bridge, because this is the one constant that has remained throughout the years. That is the actual pipe bridge that the three kids' bicycles were found. And again, that hotel, that Hampton Inn, I believe, that was not here. There was a car wash over in this area on the other side. Now there's like a cannabis dispensary right there. That is no longer, or that wasn't there in the early 90s. So basically this entire area was forest. So interestingly enough, last time I was here was about 10 years ago, and at the very end of the street at that time, they had a decoy West Memphis patrol car that was parked here, and I think the whole point was to deter people like me from coming down there and checking it out. But as you can see, it's been moved. A lot of this area is completely overgrown, and I have to say, this neighborhood has not aged well in the last 10 years. There's a lot more blight and just a lot more you know, garbage and just its uncleanliness than it was 10 years ago. So West Memphis is kind of, if you go 2 miles east of here, you're in Memphis, Tennessee. So this is kind of like a working class town for people who work in Memphis proper. Not everybody works in Memphis, but at the time a lot of people did. And so this was seen, West Memphis, as kind of a more affordable area that you could live and then commute to the city to work. And all three of the victims lived in this neighborhood. And like I said, they would ride their bikes around all day and go into this forest here and explore. All three were in the Cub Scouts, so they like that kind of thing. I will also say that I was about 14 in the Memphis area when this crime occurred, and it really shook the community. Like, it really shook the community, because this was basically right in our neighborhood, in our neck of the woods. And at the time, as kids, you know, we would go out and ride our bikes all day. Sometimes we would leave Saturday morning and not come back till early or late afternoon, and your parents didn't have to worry about where you were, you know. They just trusted that you were okay. Well, this case unfortunately changed a lot of that. And a lot of parents, especially in this neck of the woods, started realizing you got to watch your kids a little closer. And it's a tragedy, and it's been about 30 years, 29. My hope for this video, I just wanted to show people kind of as a frame of reference where these crimes occurred. People have very passionate opinions about who they think is responsible. I would ask you kindly to keep those to yourself, because at this point, the people who have researched this, you're probably not going to change their mind by posting a comment on this video, including my own. I've gone down the rabbit hole. I've done a lot of research. I feel confident in who I think is responsible for this, but again, we're not going to solve that on the comments of this video. So thank you for watching. Have a good one.